Welcome to Atheism 101. I'm your favorite bard, Korak the Bard, and astute viewers will note that my traditional blue demonic form has been replaced by a sea otter wielding a lute. That's because I recently had a run-in with a wizard and was sent some wonderful fan art by a benevolent patron of mine. So for today's debate, it's
The Bard versus the Wizard.
That's right, I met a man named real-life Gandalf who assured me that he and his god would smite me into the ground. But when we met for a discussion, he turned out to be meek as a lamb, and if I'm being honest, quite a bit more pleasant to talk to than some of my previous opponents. More on them later. But for now, this is what it's like to have a chat with someone who is a bit clumsy at arguing, but at least they argue honestly.
A fool, but an honest fool he remains.
Without further ado, let's see what happens when the bard pits the skills of his silver tongue against the might of a god-worshipping wizard. We have Gandalf the White, the Gray. I guess we'll find out. Gandalf, welcome. So why don't you start with telling us what brand of Christianity you practice, and we'll take it from there.
Nothing in particular, I guess. Just pure Bible.
Pure fucking Bible.
Sounds extreme, but what does it mean?
I would go to the Bible for anything. There's nothing outside of that, nothing added.
I guess if you could just give me a nutshell version of why I should believe what you believe.
Okay, so first of all, you will not ever discover God scientifically or naturally, because he doesn't want to be discovered that way.
Oh, we are off to an amazing start. God can't be discovered scientifically because he doesn't want to be. Well, ain't that a bitch? And how this wizard was able to determine that, I can't wait to find out.
It's by design. It's how he made us. If everyone knew he was real without a shadow of a doubt, obviously most people would follow him because they don't want to go to hell, or they don't want to upset their creator because they know he's real.
You know, if I met God and it was any of the gods so far proposed by mankind, I'd tell him to fuck right off. Also, according to the Bible, plenty of people have met God, including the devil, and openly defy him. Well, is his goal to get people to follow him?
Not like to stroke his ego, but because it is the best.
No, I didn't ask why, but
do.
at the end of the day, is his ultimate goal to get as many followers as possible?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And you just said that appearing to people would make that easier, right?
Yes, and if he did it in a way where, like you could post a video on social media and make it obvious or whatever, and everybody could know, then everybody would follow him out of fear. They would basically have no choice but to follow him.
No choice, following out of fear. Yeah, sounds like a nice guy. Maybe I can fix him. So what's he waiting for? I mean, if that gets everybody to follow him, why not do that?
There's something. I can't pretend to know his most inner every thought,
but you do know he can't be discovered by science.
First of all, you will not ever discover God scientifically or naturally, because he doesn't want to be discovered that way.
And that's the way, I like it.
There's something about discovering him for yourself and doing good even when you can't see him with your natural eyes. And this life is like a test to me. I don't know what's coming next, but I would say it's a test to see if you can say, God, I can't see you or hear you or anything like that, but I'm still going to have faith and follow you. You have to do that good without even knowing he's real. That's what it's about.
You know, I do plenty of good for people without knowing your God is real. In fact, I actively don't believe the God of the Bible exists, and yet I manage to do good anyway. Because I've determined that when I breathe my last, I'm done. And I hope to do as much good for humanity as I can in my own humble bardic way. Usually by breaking into song or performing an interpretive dance.
Cut that out! Cut that out!
We'll get to that later. I define faith as something that you appeal to when you don't have evidence. So like if you have evidence to show me, you'd show me evidence, but you don't have evidence, so you're appealing to faith. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that faith is a reliable pathway to truth?
Well, I'm saying that once you have faith and try them, you will have personal evidence that goes beyond just blind faith.
Well, here's the problem with that is that I walked that walk for 30 years and found nothing at the end of that rabbit hole. So what do you say to someone like me who, like you, I used to preach exactly what you're preaching. You got to find him with your heart. You'll know it when you know it. And I did that for 30 years and I came up empty handed. And I don't think that anything like that exists. And I don't think you should believe something that you don't have evidence for. So, what is somebody in my position supposed to do? Since I followed that path and now I'm on the other side of it going, yeah, you know what? That was empty.
So I'm not calling you a liar at all. I honestly don't think that, and that's not what I'm saying. But I would say, um, did you seek him out with your? So when Christians say your heart, they're talking about spiritually your heart. It's your innermost true intentions. What do you mean? What do you want? It's
See,
like
this is
what
the tricky part about faith because you tell somebody, if you tell me you have faith and you're a Christian, I believe you. If I tell you I used to have faith, inevitably, nobody has ever asked me, how many years did you spend at seminary or how much time did you spend studying the word? They always ask me if I felt it. Well, if I didn't feel it for 30 fucking years, I guess that would make me a goddamn psychopath because I was faking it, wouldn't you say?
um I wouldn't say a psychopath. I mean, it's good to have faith in God.
I mean, would you do something for 30 years that you did not believe in and you would show up and worship and sing and preach? Keep in mind, I've written fucking sermons. Was I writing it out of the goodness of my heart? Was I writing it because I believed it? Or was I writing it because if I didn't believe it, why did I do these things for 30 years?
I mean, only you can answer that, but
Right. And I'm telling you that I believed it. And you're asking me, are you sure? Well, I'm fucking sure. So where do we go from there?
not are you sure you believed it, but are you sure you sought Jesus out and asked him, "Hey, show yourself to me. I want to know that you're real. I want to get to know you. I want to live for you." All that. And like, did you
So
directly talk to him and ask him that? And you
if,
meant every word you were saying from the bottom of your heart?
if my answer is yes and nothing happened, what does that mean?
At this point, my phone started ringing, and because hosting live spaces is a nightmare and nearly impossible to do on my computer, we had to take a quick break for an important announcement.
Twitter sucks. Can we just take a minute to say Twitter sucks?
Yeah, this was very complicated. But
We now return to your regularly scheduled program, already in progress.
I mean, it's just hard to say. It's God has set it up in a way, or I think He has. I believe He has, to where only you can know. So it's like I
So if
can't
only
tell
I can
you.
know that's part of the problem, isn't it? Because you've got to have faith, which we haven't discerned is a reliable pathway to truth. Because everything you're saying used to be everything that I said, but it's currently things that Muslims and Jews and other faithful people say. If you want to know God, you need to feel Him with your whole heart. So how do we measure if you're doing it right? Because maybe you're right. And for 30 years, I did it wrong. And I thought I was seeking Him with my whole heart, but I really wasn't. How do we measure that? And how do we find out if I was holding back?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just like, I mean, there was a long time when I had never felt His presence or anything like that. Zero, not at all. And it was when I mean, you hear a lot of Christians talk about it at that point where they break down and they're crying, like altar calls type thing. This is like you hit a wall and you're like, you
Well,
you
that's
just
not
gotta
really
give
answering the
Jesus.
question, though, because what you're claiming is you have to do this to get this result, right? If you seek Him with your whole heart, you will find Him. Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. If you're talk
Okay.
directly to Him,
So if
and
that's the case,
now
and if you're truly seeking Him and you will find Him, if that's the case, then using your model, I wasn't truly seeking Him. So how do I determine where I fell short?
just did you talk directly to Him like in your alone time? Like, did you ever pray and talk to Him like He was a person? Like, did you speak?
Did I talk to Jesus? Talk to Jesus? Why, that had never occurred to me.
Except on Monday, wake up and talk to Jesus. Monday afternoon, prayer walk with Jesus. Monday evening, check in with Jesus. And that's just to start the week. Tuesday and Wednesday, pray with Jesus. Thursday and Friday, it's all about Jesus. The rest of the week, it is full of Jesus. So fuck you every day. When I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about Jesus. Can't masturbate cause I'm focused on Jesus. Gotta stay pure in case I ever meet Jesus. I think about him every day. When I wake up, I say, hey Jesus. When I go to bed, I say, good night Jesus. When I take a shit, I scream, oh Jesus, he helps me every day. If there's a moment that I don't thank Jesus, deep in my heart, I'm scared of Jesus. When I close my eyes, I dream of Jesus. It just won't go away. Please, someone help me get rid of Jesus. Don't know how much longer I can think about Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus in my head. Jesus, 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 fucking Christ.
We can't measure it by volume because I certainly did that. How do we measure? What is it? My intent that was wrong, or is God not listening, or is God not there? Because there's no way to distinguish between the three, is there?
Not from an outside looking in, no.
And that is why I have no use for faith. Because
Yeah.
when I'm studying literally anything, you don't have to answer if you don't want, but I'm curious what you do for a living.
My family has a glass company. We put windows in hotels,
Oh, cool.
and I've started working there. I'm only 22.
Okay. Have you ever asked your boss about your job, like how to do something? And he says, well, you just got to feel it.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't work in the natural world for sure.
Exactly. It doesn't. I'm glad we could agree on that, because you're telling me it's got to be this amorphous thing and you'll know it when you know it. But that doesn't really hold water in our daily lives, does it? Do you use that for literally anything else in your life?
No, but having a relationship with the God is in the spiritual world. It's not here. It's your soul. You know, it's just not the same.
And that's another thing that it's really hard to get evidence for. Do you have, well, first of all, tell me where is the spiritual plane and what is it?
Little did I know that the question I asked would lead to a crooked path full of twists and turns that would eventually lead directly into the heart of the spiritual realm.
So it's like it's on Earth, but it's not natural. It's like if you could put on a pair of glasses and see all the angels and demons amongst us, you know, that's possible. There aren't glasses like that, but I'm saying like they're among us. Like it's like Earth, but there's invisible forces at work that are it's spirits.
That sounds amazing, bro. Fuck, dude. Oh. Okay, so like what you're saying, man, is there's this whole other world, but we can't even see it, touch it, feel it, or measure it. Is that right?
Well, we can interact with it.
How do we interact? How do we interact with the spiritual world? Do tell.
There's you can take psychedelics and people interact with them. I don't know if you've ever looked into it, but like there's times where there's been
I'm on them right now, bro.
10 or 12 people and they're all together and take psychedelics and they all see the exact same thing.
Yeah,
and they interact.
Dear viewer, you are about to enter the spiritual realm, a place where one must seek out the master of the universe with all your heart and do a fuck ton of peyote. What lies beyond is not for the faint of heart, nor is it for the non-paying customer. For the spiritual realm containing the rest of this conversation lies at patreon.com/KorakTheBard. Indeed, not only did our dear friend Gandalf give us detailed instructions on how to enter the spiritual plane, but our young master glasscutter was so forceful in his refutation of my argument, he made this old bard break down and weep.
Were you frustrated during this time? Like you're trying to talk to Jesus and you're just like,
no, I pray to him every day. Every day. I've been living in sin like the prodigal son with the pigs and the pots bursting in the trough. I just want to come back to God. Why won't you tell me how?
All that and more, including just what it takes to blaspheme the Holy Spirit, which I assure you is imperative that you know exactly what this means, despite it being very vaguely worded in the Bible. Also, I'll be providing you detailed updates on my rogues gallery, including a talking owl who identifies as a lyrebird and a nurse who just can't keep her story straight. All this awaits you at patreon.com/KorakTheBard, dear viewer, and if you'd like to leave your favorite bard just the tip, stop by at buymeacoffee.com/KorakTheBard. Until next time, this is your favorite bard, Korak the Bard, singing off with...
The road to the spiritual realm is long and littered with victims of heroin, and peyote is well and good, but pipe weed's best for me.